Hey everybody, Jake's Garage here. Today we're going to do a project on the Suburban. Something I've been wanting to do since I got it, and I think today's a good day to do it. I actually have a lot of work planned for this, so you're probably going to see some weird stuff. So what's going to happen is I'm going to start a project, you'll see some video of the truck, and then in the next scene, as I'm telling you more about the project, you're going to see some stuff has changed. Well, that content will be in another video. So really what I'm doing is a lot of work to this thing all at once. So it might be choppy what you see, but the content for each project should be good to go. So today's project is going to be in the back, in the front, underneath, the whole thing pretty much. And that's going to be to remove this rear heat option. This truck came factory with rear heat, optional rear heat only, not the rear AC. The rear AC is mounted up top here. It's a big, giant box. I believe you could get those with heat and AC, and I actually really like rear AC in this because it's so long. The vents take a little bit of time to get the cool air back here, and I will be using the third row. So, as you can kind of tell, this guy's intruding on my cargo area. It also doesn't really do much. So for those of you that haven't seen this, it's basically a heater core bolted to the floor in this plastic cage. Two coolant lines come up through the floor, and there is a blower fan just kind of strapped and bolted to the back of this plastic box. So it's kind of intruding on my area. Why they didn't sink this in, I don't know, because there's space back here. I don't know why they didn't suck it back, but they didn't. So whatever, it's got to go. The other reason it's got to go, and you'll see in a second. But you know, here's the power wires, and I'll show you the other end here in a second. But the other reason it's got to go is the lines run all the way down the frame, and as you can see, even though this thing is fairly okay in the rust department, these lines are kind of sketch. There's a lot of zip ties, which are probably factory zip ties, honestly, but there's also some brackets that are broken, and they're not secured all that great. So bouncing down the road, you can see that would be a problem. So I'm worried about those lines breaking and just spewing all of my coolant out onto the road. Also, a heater core leak in the back would be bad. That would potentially spray my kids with hot coolant, which isn't cool. Inside the truck, right in this spot, you'll see there's the switch. The ones that have rear AC actually have two switches, I think, or maybe it's just one, AC high and low. But this switch actually has a vacuum signal and an electric signal going to it. It's just a high and low for the fan speed. It doesn't adjust temperature at all. So that I'm going to be leaving in there for now, just because I don't want a big hole in the dash. Under the hood is where we'll be starting. You can see how it works here. There is no heater control valve on this truck normally. This one has one because of the rear heat. You'll see the wires. These are the wires that actually go back. They follow the hoses down along the frame. They go back to the motor. This standalone bundle here has those three wires plus the vacuum line in it for the valve, for the heater control valve. Goes up and it goes through a grommet right there underneath what looks like the main engine harness. It does have a vacuum line that comes out and it tees into the vacuum line for the truck. These are the vents. This line here is for the vents. So obviously there's a T that gets put in there. So that's got to come out. Today I will literally just be bypassing the heater. I want to get it out of there. So I do have, for a later project, I'm putting new heater hoses on because there's these weird orange, they look like garden hose almost. I'm sure they're heater hose, but for right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use plastic splice fittings and just remove the valve and put the plastic fittings in. So that'll be today's project. Order of operations: clamp this off, isolate the lines the best I can because I really don't want coolant running everywhere. Get the lines blocked off for the rear heater, remove them, remove that valve, and kind of close everything up. So I'll get some shots of what I'm doing. It might just be like, here's what I did. I don't know if I can set a tripod up to really see what I'm doing, but I'll do the best I can. So all right, here we go. This should be a lot of talking, and then the fix should actually be not that bad. So we'll see what we can do. All right, I disconnected the smaller line. That's the 5/8 line right there, and got a decent amount of coolant, probably, I don't know, not even a gallon, I guess, if this is a 5-gallon bucket. I will say, I'm almost 100% positive these are original lines on this thing, and they're still pliable. It pulled right off of that heater core fitting without an issue. Very, very easy to get off. I also went up front and opened up the radiator to get rid of any vacuum, and it drained the radiator pretty good. So it's obvious that this is pretty much going to empty everything out. I know I'm going to have some fluid in the heater core, but I kind of want to flush the heater core anyway. So I just want to try to keep coolant from going all over the driveway, all over the inside of the truck, because it's just a pain. So, and I'm going to be taking some other stuff apart, so I figured now's a good time. But we're going to keep on going. I'm going to go disconnect that other line and see what we get. Okay, I got both heater hoses disconnected, got a lot of coolant out. What I'm going to do now is disconnect these wires and get ready to unbolt this unit from the bottom of the truck and pull the wiring down. And at that point, we're in good shape. I just have to go up front and disconnect the hoses up there, see how much coolant I'm going to get out, and I don't think I'm going to get much. Probably got a good gallon at least back here, so should be good to go. I'm going to put you down for a second so I can get this out of there. It looks like I need a screwdriver. Oh, I have one. You guys might not know this about me, but I have two fluids that I hate dealing with the most. The first one is brake fluid. I absolutely hate brake fluid. It gets everywhere. It ruins everything that it touches. The second is coolant. I hate coolant. It's never easy to deal with. You can't, it's very hard to reuse it, so it's very wasteful, and it's hard to get rid of. There's not many places around me, maybe where you are, you can get it recycled or sent in, but around me, places take oil, they don't take coolant. So it's just a huge hassle to try to wait for a hazardous waste day, at your community and get it taken care of. It's just a pain in the butt, but I hate coolant. It gets everywhere. It's gotta watch for the animals, because the animals can drink it because it's sweet and blah blah blah. All right, so here we are underneath. You'll see both lines are disconnected. Here's the wiring, which at this point should just pull down through this massive hole in the floor that they did for these few connectors. I'll probably have to go up there and push the connectors down, honestly. Yeah, I'll take care of that. But I think these are the two bolts. There's one here, and then there's one here. Now, I have a feeling they're probably gonna break, but we're gonna try to zip them off. Still dripping coolant. Here's the wiring. It's pulled out. Just tuck that up there for now, out of the way. And then zip these guys out. Okay. Huh. I had a feeling we were going to have trouble with these, but I'm thinking that's not the trouble that I was thinking we were going to have. Let's go up there and figure out what's going on. I need a better camera setup. This is ridiculous. Oh, great. The mounts are completely broken. Look at that. Is this one broken? Yes, it is. Okay, so now we're going to remove the heater. All right, so there it is. There's a look at the back side. So unfortunately, it looks like that one's broken and that one, the stud's stripped out. So I will be keeping this because I know that it is not a very common accessory. Yeah, you can see this one. The actual metal screw is stripped out. Man, there's Happy Holidays. Interesting. So yeah, unfortunately, the carpet's kind of screwed now. But big holes, huge holes. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to handle those. Probably going to weld little circles in, but for now I'm likely going to get some rubber grommets and just grommet them. Okay, officially deleted the rear heat. So what I ended up doing, I know that I said a couple methods that I was going to use. What I ended up doing was disconnecting it at the back, which pretty much drained everything. When I worked up here, not a drop came out. A little bit was in that valve, but not much. So what I ended up doing was just taking the 3/4 line, and I just happened to have some plastic fittings, so I just joined it, and then this I used a 90° 5/8 fitting so that it was complete. I only did that because I do have to start it and I do have to move it, so I wanted to be able to do that. So it's so much cleaner up here without that valve and without all that stuff. It almost makes me want to delete the AC, but that would be insane. I couldn't do that. But on that note, Vintage Air makes a SureFit kit for these that does delete all that. So that's a topic for another day maybe. Here's what you get with the rear heat delete. Here's this goofy valve. I mean, it's very simple. It's just a vacuum operated heater control valve. So you can see that when you apply vacuum, the little arm moves and coolant is allowed to flow through this line to the back. This line is always open. So there's the valve, there's the box with the hardware that I could get. Those studs were a pain. Now onto the best part of this. Now, here's the floor without it. For now, I'm gonna touch this up with some Pour 15 on both sides to seal it, and I'm gonna get some rubber grommets to close it off so water doesn't come up under there. Eventually I'm probably gonna weld, but since I'm thinking about doing rear AC, I have to see where those lines come up, because I believe they just kind of come up and hang out here and they go up to the roof. It's kind of a weird setup, but for now, that's what that'll look like. It'll just have rubber plugs. Here's the behemoth that I took out from under the car. It is long. So just give you an idea, it's all crimped. The whole thing is crimped. Well, let's take a walk down and see. It might be in sections. So here's the rear section that goes up to the floor and the wiring. As you can see, it's very rusty. Only a couple of the brackets were still good. The rest were rotted off. And you can tell that's not too far away from cracking and causing me headaches. So I was going to keep it, but I'm kind of thinking maybe not now. I could probably rebuild it with something. I don't know. Can you use PEX for coolant? PEX, or I could just use nylon line or something. Who knows? But you can see that the wiring is just zip tied the whole way. Okay, here's the second section. So there's hose clamps here and crimps there. And as you come up, I wonder if that's because maybe that one would be for a blazer. I don't know. And then you come up this way, and now your soft lines all the way up to the engine compartment with waterproof plugs that plug into the wiring. I think I lost a clamp somewhere. Oh, there was one clamp on the frame kind of holding it together. But that's it, man. That's like a gallon of coolant right there. It's insane. It's insanely long. So the only thing I have to do now, the only last thing you got to do, well, besides refilling your coolant if you are going to start it right away. So I have the wiring and the vacuum line.
And what I have to do is take this vacuum line and delete it from this vacuum setup here. This one goes over to the vacuum orb, I believe. And this one must tee off of the throttle body or something somewhere. So all you really have to do is remove this tee. So pull this off, pull this guy off, and attach it back to this tee right here. So that'll be it, and it'll be completely deleted. That's it. Like I said, there's some more stuff to do over here with the heater hoses, but that'll kind of come in a video, I think, when I'm doing the engine work. If you have any questions about that, comments, I don't think I'm getting rid of this just because I do think it's hard to get. I don't necessarily think I'm going to ever run it again, but I'm weird like that, and I'm probably going to hoard it. But if you really want it, the pieces, let me know. The box is broken a little bit. As you can see, I was just going to epoxy it back together. It's a really kind of a stupid design, to be honest with you. It's probably not even worth it. But yeah, so I got a garage full of stuff to clean, an empty rig. I got to decide what I'm doing with carpet. Got lots of stuff to do, but that's the rear heater delete. Thanks for watching.